Today on Get in the Lab, we're talking about 5 ways your relationship is stopping you from making money in your business and what to do about it. Plus, I'll give you a little preview of the new show premiering later this month and a niche site update that's monumental. More on that in 3, 2, 1. Plato said, "Know thyself." It's not always easy, but it is necessary. This is Get in the Lab. Welcome back to the lab. My name is Megan. Here on this show, I give you the mental tools to weather the ups and downs, the crazy storm that happens when you run your business, okay? So I'm really, really grateful that you're here, spending at least 30 minutes with me here on the lab. Okay, so today we're going to talk about relationships, and this is just on my mind because the new show that's premiering later on this month called Hustle and Love is going to be about entrepreneurs and relationships. And this topic actually was something that I first the first thing that I wanted to create content on when I entered the online space back in like 2012, but was very, very scared to execute. I didn't know how to execute on it yet because I was going through just so much emotionally, mentally, personally and stuff. Now we're kind of bringing that back because I feel like I'm ready. I have arrived. I'm ready to talk about this stuff and offer my experience, advice to other entrepreneurs who are in relationships. You know, those things that you're kind of afraid to voice, especially in an online medium, but we have a way of dealing with that now. So anyway, in today's episode, we are going to talk about relationships. And let me just ask you guys something, okay? How hard is it when you have a business idea and you want to voice that to your partner, your significant other, and they don't get it? You know, they live in this other world. Maybe they have a 9-to-5, maybe they have their own business, but it's run a completely different way. It's not online in the means of us podcasters, of us content creators, or you learn something online and you want to share this new tactic or strategy or way of marketing with your partner, but you've never done anything like this before. You don't have the social proof. You're a newbie, but you see other people doing it and you want to bring that knowledge back into your, to your partner and to maybe your business or whatever that you have together as entrepreneurs, or maybe they're not entrepreneurs, but they don't get it. They don't come from this world, right? How frustrating is that? They just, in my experience, like Kevin, he's never going to be 100% in line with what I'm learning on a day-to-day basis. And you guys know, if you're a content creator and you're trying to establish your brand or your business and you're always trying to learn stuff online, and you do, and you want to share that with your partner, but you can't really because they just don't do the things that you do. They don't sit here at the desk trying to create content and then try to put it out and market it to the world when you don't have the social proof, right? And like it's so frustrating to deal with that because that's your partner, right? That's your number one. That's the person that you come home to. And you want, if you're lucky and you have that, that's awesome. But if you are like me and you don't have that all the time, and sure, like Kevin, my partner, he supports me 110% on so many other levels. But there are certain things within doing what we do as a podcaster, as a content creator, as an online entrepreneur that he's never really going to get because he doesn't make his money this way, right? He doesn't market this way. And so when you don't have that type of support, it does wear on you because, it's like when you go to work and maybe you hate your job, your 9-to-5, like before when I used to drive out to Indio and commute, like 3 hours a day. We all kind of nestled in that misery because, we were all commuting, or, we're all like, we're in it together. We're all on the same level. We're all learning these new things in hazmat. And like that really bonded us because we were going through that struggle. And that's what I'm saying. So in this episode today, guys, what we're going to talk about in the last segment, okay, we're going to talk about how that mentality of like trying so hard to get your partner to get it, right, is really kind of a waste of your time because they're not going to get it. Okay. There were so many times where I felt like he has to get it 100% in order for me to be recognized as somebody successful and able to make money for myself. And I think this is something that maybe it's a female thing, a woman thing, or the like I would say the non-breadwinner partner thing, because you feel so much like you have to catch up, right? You have to prove to them that this is something legit, that this is something viable. And so I'm going to tell you guys right now that that's a misguided way of thinking about it, because in my experience, it was never going to happen that way. It was going to have to happen in these other ways. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 reasons how this relationship, maintaining it where you're like, come on, you got to get it. You got to be like right here with me about this online entrepreneur thing. For me to actually, it was getting in the way of me actually making money. Okay. And that's a big deal, because businesses make money. That's the bottom line. You know, we can all kind of fuck around online and be like, I make videos, or I have a podcast. And I did that for like a really long time, and validating myself as an entrepreneur when really I wasn't making money. Like, you have to be real with yourself, and sometimes you kind of have to lie to yourself so you can numb the reality that I'm not making money. Like, that sucks. That feeling sucks. And that's a sucky feeling, to go to your partner and say, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing all this work. Here's like $600 to show for it. Like, that cannot support us, you know, and I cannot be a viable member in this relationship if I am not bringing in something of worth that is up to our standards as a couple. Okay, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into it deep, because I think that's a deep conversation that needs to happen here on the show. But first, let me update you on the second segment, which we talk about the niche site. Okay, so y'all know that I was starting a niche site, right? And my goal was to reach $500 a month. Now, this is interesting because everybody that I told to, and I told this, like, you know, this is my goal right now, is to make $500 a month with my niche site through passive means, passive income and stuff like that, affiliate sites and stuff like that. And while that's very possible, and I think it's a good goal to have, like, let's see if we can make $500 a month. Like, honestly, a lot of people were saying, why only $500? That's nothing. That's nothing. Like, that's your big goal. That's your big scary dream, is to make $500 a month. Like, it got me to thinking, and to be like, they said a bunch of stuff, all these combination of people, and just my own digging into why I only wanted $500 a month was that, seriously, emotionally, guys, mentally, I was thinking, like, that's all I'm worth. Like, if I really break it down and I cut through all the bullshit for you right now, I was thinking I was only worth $500 a month for everything that I do. And you guys, I try to tell you and be really transparent about what I do in the back end and how hard I work. But seriously, it's when I wake up to when I go to sleep, I'm trying to figure it out. Like very many of you guys, trying to figure it out. Like, what can I do to work for myself, and what can I do to be like to make a living off what I'm passionate about, right? I was telling myself, I was degrading myself, like, only $500 a month, and like, now seriously, I feel like I've arrived in a place mentally, emotionally, professionally, just getting all of these validations and signs, pretty clear-cut signs that I'm worth more than $500. And it's not about putting a stamp on it, you know, it's more just about accepting, and knowing what you are worth, you know, what your time and energy is worth, and being comfortable and confident, being very confident about asking for the sale, right? Asking for, the services that you provide, and asking for what you want in life, right? In life, like, I want to make a living doing what I love. And this is what you guys want too, right? I want to make a living doing what I love. And in order to get to that place where you're now confident about asking people to pay you for your time, your service, your course, your book, your whatever. It all stems from the confidence of knowing that you are worth what you're asking. And so it took me a long time to get to that point because, which we're going to talk about in the last segment of the show, you know, how my relationship and how I had all these assumptions about my relationship was holding me back from making money. Okay. So here's the thing, guys, with the niche site update. I kind of went off on a tangent about the whole $500 a month thing, but basically I have reached my goal of wanting to have $500 a month, making $500 a month, because I was like, I got to get these roommates out, right? They got to leave. I can't have it when I'm married. It's going to be weird. Okay. So that is now done. That's done. Okay. That's awesome. I want to give us just a little fist bump, and say thank you to you guys, because the show and the way that it's been received within the past month, over like 5,000 views or plays or whatever it is, we've never reached those numbers before. And I was giving a little like woohoo in my email newsletter, because things are changing, and we're going to talk about that, how I used to have such a, you know, I'm going to start my business with like nothing, you know, super bootstrap, super budget. And I'm not going to spend a lot of money because I don't have a lot of money. And when I do have money, I'm going to still try to use all the free services and stuff like that. But in next week's episode, I'm going to dig into that, how that budgeted mindset, right? How that budgeted, you know, let's start a business on a budget kind of bled over into a budgeted mindset, a budgeted goal setting thing for me, budgeted vision. Like, come on, we're gonna dive in so deep into all of the crap that I used to limit myself with, that which I'm sure you guys are limiting yourself with, because there's so many people out there who are doing exactly what I'm doing, putting so much heart into what they do, and they want so badly just to make money, make a living off what they do as a passion. But it's so tedious, and it's so it can just be so soul crushing when things don't work out at first, right? And you have to really push through that. So we're going to dig into that. But anyway, the niche site is on hold because I've reached that goal. Okay, so I'm sorry that I'm all over the place with this episode, but like, I think it's kind of good to capture the crazy excitement right now, because things are finally changing for me, because I feel like I've unlocked something within me, which was this, like, I felt like I had to do X before I get to Z or whatever. You know, I had to do A before I get to B or whatever. And in some cases that was true, but I was putting in so many other, like, I have to do this before I do this. I was making up a lot of these things, a lot of excuses, a lot of bullshit. We do this, okay? This is just a very human thing because of fear and because of shame. So it's on break, okay? And I'm not taking it down. I'm just going to take a break from it. I've learned so much just about how to SEO, how to market, how to target keywords, which has been really, really invaluable to me, as far as getting my message out there and getting the exposure that I want. So I think it's really great. And I think that the niche site area and niche, the niche site niche, and all the people who do that thing, I have so much to learn from them still. So I'm just going to put it on hold. Okay. So I'll keep updating you about things that I'm still learning, like valuable things like, like targeting keywords and tools that I use to set up niche sites and to do that sort of thing. I'll still be updating you on that stuff in later episodes. So there'll still be some value here in the second segment for niche site stuff, but maybe we'll call it something else. Okay. Okay. So I need some water. All right. So now that I've taken a break from the niche site and everything, and I got to focus on my breathing. I heard that when you're performing on your podcast, because it is a performance, so says my friend Omar from $100 MBA, You have to focus on the breath, and I'm very bad at that. So we will be exploring that as well. Okay, so instead of focusing on this niche site where I had to learn a bunch of new shit, I'm going to really, really, really dig into my strengths. Okay. And this is sometimes really hard because you so much want to kind of get into the shiny new thing, but you forget about your strengths, your gifts, right? Your talents that can be developed into skills that can be sold and monetized, and video, branding, being able to perform a little bit. Those are my strengths right now. I mean, they're not like 100% off the chain, dope ass, strengths, but they're my strengths. Okay. So I'm going to dig into those, and I highly recommend that you dig into it as well. Yeah. So I'm going to focus in on my strengths. I'm going to dig really, really deep, and I'm going to try to figure out how to systemize things, and I'm, selling stuff and product launches and stuff like that, new shows, new everything. Everything is changing now that I have kind of unleashed the entrepreneur, the true entrepreneur that lived inside me that was like, hello. Okay. So, and as we move through this show, I'm going to show you guys how to unlock that savvy business person within you. Okay. Because we all think, I'm not a business person. I'm not good at sales. And this is something that I say all the time. Okay. But we're going to walk you through it. That's why this show exists. So we can, get the tools, the mental hacks to get our minds right so we can make a living off what we love to do. Okay. So before we get into the last segment of the show, the meat of the show, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor.
Are you tired of physical books?
Is that you, Lord?
Maybe you need a digital book.
Digital book?
Yes, why don't you read from Audible?
Audible.com?
Why, yes, you can visit audibletrial.com/getinthelab to get a free audiobook of your choice. They have over 100,000 titles to choose from. That's right, you can turn all of your physical books into digital ones and listen to them, I hear, at 2 times speed. So, just remember, go to audibletrial.com/getinthelab to get your free audiobook today.
Always fun to have fun with the sponsor, audible.com. Okay. So, all right, let's talk about the 5 ways your relationship is stopping you from making money in your business and what you can do about it. Okay. Cause this is just my experience. Okay. I'm speaking from personal experience. I want to preface this segment of the show that I love my B, my Chi, my Wem. He has so many nicknames. But Kevin, okay, I love Kevin. He supports me 110%, like I said, in so many other ways. He is allowing me to experiment. He's allowing me to do this thing. And even though we had the conversation of, hey, would you ever think about going back to a 9-to-5 to support us? And my answer was no. He was still understandable about that. The thing is, this is not him, okay? This is me. This is me. This is why my relationship with my future husband, okay, maybe you guys are already married, you're in a serious relationship, or maybe you're not in a serious relationship, but the person that we keep, our significant other, I don't care how long you've been together or how committed you are or whatever, their opinion matters to us. It's just going to happen. It matters a lot. The fact that Kevin is an established entrepreneur in his business, okay, that he started from nothing, his entrepreneurial opinion, his respect for me as an entrepreneur, I just didn't feel that it was at a level that I could be satisfied with for a very, very long time, because he couldn't possibly fathom what it is that we are doing, us content creators here in the podcasting world, in the online content creation world. Okay. He couldn't possibly understand it. And I wanted so much for him to get it, and I was telling you guys, I was chasing that kind of fantasy, that ideal sort of situation for a very long time. And that's why I feel like I was not able to position myself to ask for a sale. Okay. Because I was waiting for his approval on these things, in which he really doesn't have any business approving. Okay. And so all respect to him. I love him. All right. But we're going to break down these kind of five reasons how the relationship and my relationship got in the way of me making money. Okay. And so maybe you guys can take away something valuable from this and be like, I can relate to that. I can put myself in your shoes and be like, I'm kind of doing that shit too. All right. And then we're going to talk about what to do about it if you recognize some of these situations. Okay. All right. So number one, I used to think that my significant other, my partner, Kevin, was my customer. Okay, so there's a very big difference between, your husband. I'm just going to refer a husband, okay, because it's better. It's not long. So your husband is not your customer. Sometimes they are, okay, but in my case, he's not my customer. He's not somebody that I would want to sell to. So the fact that I'm trying to sell to him for 3 years, buy this idea, buy this whole, thing that I'm doing online and buy this, buy that, not sell to him, but get the idea. It was kind of a, just what's the expression, like peeing in the wind. It was kind of like peeing in the wind, because he's not your customer, he's your husband, so to me it was like, oh my God, why was I trying to force this person who, he supports me in exactly the way like textbook husband support is supposed to do, but in a business way. I was asking so much of him. I was thinking in my head, if I can't convince my husband, of all people, that this online creating content thingy that I do is legit business, how am I going to ask a sale of some random stranger, right? That's what I was thinking. And that is so crazy because you never do sales in a blanketed thing. Like, I'm going to sell to everybody. You don't do that, right? I'm learning this. I'm sorry, guys, that I've been late, and you guys probably know it and it's obvious, but sometimes the emotions, the feels, they get in the way of thinking very rationally about running a business. And so I think it's just a very female thing. It's a very wifely, womanly thing. You care about what your partner thinks, about what your husband thinks. And so that was my thinking. If I can't even convince him that I'm worth it to buy, this, or to watch the show, or to whatever, engage within my message or my material, then what business do I have asking random people to opt in or to subscribe or whatever? And that was my thinking. And that was a very, very limited way of thinking. So if you have ever had that thought in your mind, or it's still a recurring thought in your mind, because to me, it always comes back. Here's what I would do. Okay. Say this to yourself right now. My partner is not my customer. And that's okay. And that's okay. They don't need to understand everything. What they need to do is support you on a level where, like, I'm here. I get it. I don't get everything, but I'm here for you. I am your fan. I am your number one fan. And sometimes it takes many conversations like us to get to that point where you distinguish between what it means to be a husband or a partner, to be a loving and supporting partner in a marriage, in a long-term relationship, in a committed relationship, versus like, here, I support you, I invest in you on a business sense, right? They're two very different things, very similar, and the lines get blurred, and that's why it's confusing for somebody like me, because I go, oh my God, my husband doesn't get it, so that means, my potential customer won't get it. So this is something that we need to separate and be like, I'm good with my relationship. That's cool. Let's not mix that shit up, because if you're an entrepreneur in a relationship with another entrepreneur, shit does get mixed up. That just happens. But if not, then I think it's easier to kind of draw the line, Anyway, okay, so that's what I would do. We're over that now, because you know what? Now that I'm in a selling sort of mode, we're campaigning right now. If you've seen it, free video podcasting course, I've been able to now separate these things and to not get so like emotional and butthurt about certain things that I used to get emotional and butthurt about. Okay, so number 2. Okay, this is what I used to do. I used to And I still do it because, like, let's face it, I'm human. And I don't make as much money as he does. So you compare your accomplishments to your partner's. This one is fucking tough. I mean, let's just be honest, okay? Because Kevin is the breadwinner and he makes a lot of money doing what he does. And I feel straight up, let's just be honest, let's just be real talk right now. I feel like a housewife sometimes, even though I'm working so hard doing other things within the business and stuff like that. I feel like the 50s old school, like, you know, the very stereotypical idea of a housewife, you know, that's somebody who just cleans, you know, cooks, which are legit. I'm not saying, okay, all these politically correct ways of saying this shit, but like, I feel like I'm not, for me, in my identity, like if I don't feel like an entrepreneur that he respected because I don't make as much money as him, or my business is not doing as well, or it's not established, or, you know, whatever. So I would often do this and use that excuse, that fear and that shame of newbie business, newbie entrepreneur, newbie everything, or no money, no social proof, or anything like that. I would use that excuse kind of be the reason why I'm not making money and continuing why I'm not making money in my business, which is so soul crushing. You know, there were many times where I was like, and I was talking to him, I was like, maybe I should just go back to shooting. You know, even though I hate it, like at least it makes money. And it's, and I'm so grateful that we're now in a point in our relationship where he's like, no, you love what you do. Okay. You're not making money right now, but you're getting established. And it's okay that I'm supporting us, you know, as a couple and in so many other realms, but you support us too, doing what you do. Right. And I think that conversation in itself is so needed. You cannot assume these words. You can't assume that your partner knows them, or that they, you know, that you love them, or that you understand. You have to physically say it, and you have to say it with heart, right? Because otherwise, you know, I'll just say it's like, I feel like I'm not providing as a wife. I'm not providing as a partner. And that's very, very, like it's soul crushing. If you don't feel that you're fulfilling your role, especially in your relationship, like that affects everything. Your ability to ask for a sale, your ability to make products, to tweak and test and just try shit out in your business, because we know business is like this, you know? Okay. So that comparison monster, you got to keep it in check, even though it's always going to be there. Oh, this person's doing so much better than me. Oh, FaceTime. Hold on. Hi, Wem. Sorry about that. It's Force Friday, so Kevin was FaceTiming me with like stuff that we want. You'll see that video later. Okay, so where was I? So yeah, that comparison monster, you know, it's always going to come back, because there's always going to be somebody who's doing shit better than you. But don't take it as like as an offense to yourself, like, oh, my shit's not good enough. Just be like, yeah, my shit's not good enough, so I'm going to be freaking inspired right now, and I'm going to make it better because of your example, right? So this is something that I always kind of default back on, not how we do business, but the mindset of selling, the mindset of feeling worth your ask. You know, when you ask for money in your business, right? Feeling worthy of that. So this is something that I will be like, okay, I feel that comparison monster coming on when I'm looking at what Kevin is doing sometimes. And what I'll do is I'll use that to my advantage and be like, okay, how can I learn from this right now? Because I feel that I'm not worthy, but I want to be mentally worthy of what I'm asking for in my business. So I'll ask him, I said, you know, how do you, I'm kind of struggling with feeling confident about what I'm asking for, you know, not my price or whatever. And then he'll just tell me, you know, he'll be like, well, this is how I see it. This is how I think about selling. And, you know, I think about my time and what my skill is worth. And And I put that into my price. And when I go into, seal the deal and sell a wedding package, a very expensive one, I go in knowing that I've already worked out all the numbers, like what Jeff was saying. He does the exact same thing. Maybe it's a male thing, but knowing exactly what the worst scenario is and having numbers to push in front of your customer and feeling really good about it, because you know your numbers, you know your worst case scenario. Do I have to make this sale, or am I coming into it like I'm worth this price? This is what I'm asking for. I'm confident about it. My shit is legit. My product is legit. And this is what I'm asking. And being really cool with just being like, this is what it is. Right? Like, to be cool with that pause, so that people can take it in, instead of feeling in your head like, is it too much? Is it too little? Is it a little, all this shit that runs through your head that I have total experience with. So that's what I do. When the comparison monster comes along, I use it to my advantage. Okay. How can I learn from it? All right. Number 3. This is something I used to do a lot, especially in the beginning, because I didn't have social proof, which was I would diminish my show, my accomplishments, whenever he would talk about it. Or sometimes people go, hey, don't you have a YouTube show? And I go, yeah, but it's nothing. How many times have you done that shit? Right? It's nothing. I have a little podcast, maybe you haven't done that, but I used to do this all the time, guys. I would seriously have just newbie entrepreneur shame, because I didn't have numbers to show people. It's like, here's my show. It has 10 subscribers. That's not something that, any normal person would be like wearing on their sleeve. So, I mean, you guys can get that, right? Like, I had such shame about it. But even until like now, like 3 years later, I would still do this. I would still diminish myself. And this is something that my friends, who are very honest but loving, supportive people, said, stop doing that. And I've been telling you guys this for a long time, that they would point it out to me and be like, you're diminishing your skills. Why are you not selling this already? Why are you not writing a book already? And it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing. So, that budgeted mindset that I was talking about, which we're going to talk about next week's episode, really, really does affect you, because you just get in the habit of being comfortable of diminishing yourself. And that's a habit. That's all that is. And so, that was me breaking the chains. Okay. And then for you guys to break your chains as well, when you feel that way, right? When you feel like you keep diminishing, you can't accept a compliment. You can't accept the numbers that you have. 10 is awesome. Seriously. I talked about, 10 is not a number to be proud of. 10 is greater than 9, right? The whole Gary Vee thing, 1 is greater than 0. Right? 1 is greater than 0. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link to it in the thing. Okay. So y'all should know already, I'm a big Gary Vee fan, and he's the one who's kind of reactivating that, and so many other friends. Okay. But he's proof that, it's a mental game. It's a mental game. Okay. So next one. Number 4, this is something I used to do as well, kind of in line with what I just talked about, by diminishing my accomplishments or diminishing my presence online, which was when I was introducing myself to other people, I would default to say that I'm a photographer. But I don't want to be in the business of photography. So why the hell am I putting out this image still, like earlier this year, that I'm a photographer? That's not the image that I want to make a business on. Yes, that's where my background is, but that's not what I'm passionate about. What I'm passionate about is right here, creating the content, being the bridge between you, the content, and actually making a living through doing what you want, what you love online. Okay. I'm an enabler. I'm a bridge, not a monument. Refer to last week's episode. Okay. So I would default and say I'm a photographer, because I had this shame, right? I had the shame of like, well, my show's not doing crazy numbers, or I don't have like 1,000, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube or whatever the hell. Like, now I don't care about those stats. Like, numbers are important, and we'll talk about knowing your numbers in another episode. So much to talk about. But I'm a content creator, and very many of you who are watching the show are content creators. But many of you have had maybe previous job titles before that you feel comfortable, that other people understand, right? When I say I'm a content creator to somebody who I don't know, say it at some cocktail party, whatever cocktail speak we're having, and I say I'm a content creator, that would mean that I would now have to back that up and say, well, what is that? People are going to ask you, what is that, right? They're going to ask. And so I would have to explain and sort of prove myself in that moment. And that was something that really freaked me out. Like, I didn't want to have to tell you that I tried to make videos online and then build my list and then hopefully someday sell something to that list because they are in, this niche of video marketing or something like that. I did not want to have to say that because I was afraid of it. Okay, I defaulted and I said, I'm a photographer. They go, got it. Cool. Conversation ended. I didn't even get a chance to sell who I am, or maybe even give a shout out to what I'm doing, or all of those things that you do when you go to a cocktail party, and that's crazy. You should have confidence and pride in what you do, especially if you're a content creator, because y'all know that we work pretty damn hard to be seen or to get our message across, to reach people, to connect in the way that we do through the mic and through the camera. Okay, it's a lot of work, and we need to be, we as people, as content creators, we need to recognize that hustle in ourselves and say, good job for, going into a business that is freaking hard in the beginning, but still wanting to do it because you're passionate about it and you don't care what other people are saying, and you don't care that they don't get it because you get it. You get it. Okay. And somebody out there who maybe you haven't met them yet, but they get it too. And that's an incredible feeling, but you have to keep going in what you're doing to get to that point. You have to give it the time for however long it kind of takes. And that just kind of depends on you, how much time you're willing to put into this thing that you love that doesn't really have a name yet, right? Or maybe it has a name, but it hasn't taken root in anybody else's mind as a brand. You have to give it time, and you have to put in the work, so much work. But you know what? When I say that, I say work in a way that's like love, hate, because this is where I want to be with you here on this show, right? So crazy. I'm pumped up, man. Okay, so number 5. What I was telling you guys earlier before when I was about to go into all this spiel, right, was that, Kevin wasn't in it. He wasn't in it. He's not a podcaster. He doesn't sit down at the computer and make this shit, produce this shit, right? Go on Fiverr and look for stuff. Go on, use MailChimp, all the stuff, the things that we do that only podcasters really know about. He doesn't do that. He may have came on the show in season 2 and spit a little knowledge on the mic for you guys, but he's not in it. He doesn't know what's behind the work of producing a show and marketing it on a day-to-day basis and getting in social and interacting with people in the niche, right? So it was crazy because I just expected it. Right? I just expected him to get it, and I was totally missing that boat. So if you were like me and you're like, why don't you just support me? Why don't you just understand everything? That's a tall order to fill, right? That's a tall order to fill, and they are already, look, if you're like me and he's already providing for you in a way that, you have your mortgage, you have your car, you have your phone, you have, like all these financial things that you need to survive these things. He's already providing all of that. And so the fact that you don't get what I'm doing over here, it took a while for me to accept that that's okay. And to communicate that to him and say, I'm so grateful for you for providing and providing a shelter over our head and food to eat on the table. It's not glamorous meals all the time, right? Sometimes it's Spam and rice, but we love that actually. Spam, rice, and eggs. But you're doing all of that. That means you support me 100,000%. I didn't get that. And mistakenly, I didn't communicate that to him. So it's like he feels that, dude, I'm giving so much. Why is it not enough, right? It's not fair of me to ask that of him. And so it's okay. It's okay that he's not in it. And so if you're in a situation that's similar to mine, like, realize that that's okay. And you need to say that to them. They need to know that the fact that they're taking care of you in whatever way, it doesn't have to match mine or our situation. But if they are taking care in a way that is, in line with supporting you, it doesn't mean that they're not supporting you 100%, because they're doing so much for you in so many other ways, right? And you have to recognize that. And so that's why I say, like, the number one tip, guys, when you're starting out in a business and maybe your partner doesn't get it, okay, maybe they don't want to invest the money in your business, okay, you have to go out there and go get it. And you have to make friends and a network on your own who live and breathe in the shit that you do in your industry. You have to. If you don't do that, you're really you're really cutting yourself short and being really unfair to your partner. Okay. So be fair. Know that your partner is doing the best that they can to support you. And sometimes it's not the ideal situation, but that's okay. Okay. And you need to say that it's okay for it to be safe for both of you guys to do what you do best. It's okay that they're not in it, and it's cool. Go find other supporters who can support you in that way. 100%, and so even I probably should make that really clear to Kevin and be like, I used to tell him, hey, you're at 97% supporting me because you're not in it, right? You're not in it. I need to rephrase that and be like, I know that you're here for me 2,000 million %. I know that. And you're a wonderful, partner in life. It's okay that you don't get what I'm doing all the time. Every little thing that I do, it's okay. It's not your job. You've done your job. you do it very well on a daily basis. Now let me do my job. Okay. Let me have the supporters know and understand that my supporters are, in it with me. And that's why I go to them about certain things in the business, because we can just relate better. Okay. But you're good. You're good. You're wonderful. You're doing everything that you need to be doing in our relationship. But believe me, if you're not doing something right in our relationship, I will let you know. But for the most part, I'm running a business. We have a relationship, and those things are separate. And thank you so much for supporting me in the way that you do. And that's it. It doesn't have to be this weird convoluted thing where it's like, he has to understand everything, which is something I used to think. Okay. So, and that's okay, because we're human, right? We're human, and we're female maybe, right? And we just have them female feels. So, there you go. Those were my 5 things, how your relationship, your perspective in your relationship can get in the way of you making money. The moment I had that separation, guys, of like, this is my business, this is my marriage, things just became so much easier, so much more clear to me, and to have confidence in who I am and as an entrepreneur selling stuff online. Okay. And I want you to be in that same position to monetize as well. Okay. So those are my 5 things. I told you guys a little sneak preview, okay, of the new show called Hustle and Love that I'm going to be co-hosting with my friend Jeff. And you can take a look at that right now.
Now, if it is something like he's going to actually spend money on, like getting into a lemonade stand, that's a terrible example, or selling like toilet paper or some retarded business, okay? Then with all means, just, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't try to be diplomatic. I would just give him the iron fist and just say, you're a moron. Stop.
No love, man.
Yeah. And then I think,
All right. So there you go, guys. It's a little bit more, it can be, I guess, a little bit more raunchier or whatever. But you know what? Entrepreneurs and relationships, I feel, and I know this for a fact when I had my first show, Love and Entrepreneurship, was that we feel like it's taboo to talk about our relationship. But these are conversations that need to be had because of this episode, right? There's all these mental, emotional things that go down behind the scenes that put us in a position to not make money in our business or to feel really unconfident about who we are and our message. And maybe we can't even find our message, our niche, because we're so held back by these questions that we're afraid to ask of ourselves and of our partners. Okay. So that's why that show exists. And we're going to take that to, who knows how many levels. But we have a couple of episodes in the bag already. They're going to be premiering. The season premieres on September 16th, I believe. That's a Wednesday. And you're going to be seeing some promo. I'm losing my voice. You're going to be seeing some promo between the first week and the second week of September. And then we're going to go right into it. So things are going to move very fast, but just know things are moving fast so we can test shit out, right? So a big mistake that I see in myself, more importantly, is that we take too damn long to sell, to test, to try things out, to experiment, and to change them. We take too damn long, okay? So you're going to see a lot of stuff. It's going to be very quickly, but just know, because we're trying to find the best way to market and to put out the show that means something to people, right? The community for me is very, very important. Being here with you guys is very, very important. So I'm going to be testing things like crazy so I can get to my people as fast as possible. Okay, so that was it, guys. That was today's show. That was episode number 13. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next week here on the lab. Okay, so once again, my name is Megan, reminding you to get in the lab. I'll see you. Peace. Hey guys, what's up? So thanks so much for watching that episode. You can visit more show notes and stuff like that in the link in the description, or you can click here on my face or whatever. Another really cool thing that I want you to check out, I have this free video podcasting course. Okay, it's a free course that you can get that kind of explains everything that I do to produce this show. And there's going to be more stuff coming. There's also a bonus book, buddy text along with that I also created in a GIF, and I would like you to have it for free. So just click in the link in the description, go to freevideopodcastingcourse.com, and it'll be right there for you. Okay, so good things. We'll see you next time here in the lab. Peace.